Something extraordinary is happening in the electric vehicle world that you absolutely need to know. A small but powerful company called Aptera is making moves that nobody truly saw coming. They are not building another ordinary electric car sitting on an already very crowded shelf. Aptera is creating an entirely new category of vehicle that runs mostly on pure sunlight. Right now, they are actively preparing to build their very first 50 production vehicles today. That is a massive milestone for a company that millions of people are still discovering today. So let us break down exactly what is happening and why it genuinely matters so much. First, let us talk about where Aptera stands today as a company with a very clear mission. They have built a passionate community of over 1 million followers across all their social media platforms. That number alone tells you that people everywhere are paying very close attention to this vehicle. But followers are one thing and actual paying customers are a completely different and separate story. Aptera has close to 50,000 reservations from real people who genuinely want this vehicle badly. Think about that for just a moment and let it really sink deep into your mind. 50,000 people put their real money down for a vehicle that was still being built. That level of demand before full production even begins is something truly special and incredibly rare. Those reservations translate to nearly $2 billion in potential revenue already waiting for this company, and $2 billion in demand before a single production vehicle has ever been delivered to anyone. That is not a struggling startup. That is a company operating with serious and real momentum. Aptera also recently listed on the Nasdaq, opening doors to thousands of brand new investors immediately. They already had over 20,000 existing investors before the Nasdaq listing even happened on that day. That kind of investor confidence does not come from hype alone, but from deep and real belief. People believe in Aptera because what they are building has genuinely never existed anywhere before now. Now, let us talk about the 50 vehicles and why this particular number is so significant. A photo recently surfaced showing battery packs lined up and stacked neatly in very organized rows. When you count the packs carefully, you can see 7 sitting neatly in a single row. There are 3 rows total, and each individual stack contains exactly 2 battery packs sitting together. Do the math, and that gives you 42 battery packs ready and waiting to be used. Now, 42 is not 50, so where do the remaining 8 vehicles actually come from exactly? Aptera has already built 5 complete vehicles specifically for important validation testing and necessary safety evaluations. Add those 5 to the 42, and you are already sitting at 47 total vehicles right there. And there are almost certainly more battery packs stored in areas not even visible in that photo. So when you put everything together, 50 vehicles is a completely realistic and very logical number. This is not speculation or wishful thinking from a fan hoping something wonderful will eventually happen. This is real physical evidence that Aptera is actively and seriously preparing to build these vehicles. And once those 50 vehicles are out in the world, everything is going to change fast. The first people to receive these vehicles will be those who joined the accelerator program early. The accelerator program gave passionate supporters a chance to get their vehicle earlier than everyone else. On average, each accelerator participant invested over $20,000 just to secure their early slot. That shows exactly how serious and deeply committed these early supporters truly are about this vehicle. Also, around 2,000 people participated in that accelerator program, and they will proudly be first in line. But getting those 2,000 vehicles built is honestly just the beginning of a much bigger story. Behind them are thousands more reservation holders eagerly and patiently waiting for their very own turn. And behind those thousands are millions of people who have not even heard of Aptera yet. When those first vehicles hit the road, word is going to spread incredibly fast and wide. Because this vehicle does something that absolutely no other vehicle on the road today actually does. It generates its very own electricity directly from the sun using solar panels built into its body. You wake up in the morning, walk outside, and your car already has more charge waiting. You did not plug it in. You did not do anything at all. The sun worked. In sunny climates, Aptera can provide up to 40 miles of completely free range every single day. Over the course of a full year, that adds up to over 10,000 free miles. 10,000 miles per year powered completely by the sun at absolutely zero cost to you. That number is not a marketing promise. It is based on real solar output in sunny areas. In the summer months alone, you could be getting close to 1,000 free miles monthly. Now, think about what that actually means for your daily life and your monthly expenses over time. Most people drive somewhere between 10 and 30 miles on a completely typical and ordinary day. If your car is sitting in the sun while you are at work, it is quietly charging. By the time you walk back out to your car, as every mile you drove is replaced. For many drivers living in sunny parts of the country, they may never pay for charging. Think about what that genuinely does to your monthly expenses when your fuel bill drops to zero. No gas station stops, no charging station trips, no electricity bill spike at the end of month. Just pure free energy from the sun, powering every single mile you drive throughout each day. And for certain groups of people, this incredible benefit is going to be absolutely life-changing. Think about someone who is retired and living in a warm, sunny state like Florida today. How far does a typical retired person actually drive on any given week, honestly and realistically speaking? Maybe a trip to the doctor once a month and a grocery run once or twice weekly. That is maybe 20 to 40 miles total in a week on the very higher end. Meanwhile, their Aptera has been quietly sitting in the sunny driveway soaking up free sunlight all week. After 7 full days in the sun, the vehicle has built up around 280 miles. Even after driving 40 miles that week, they still have 240 full miles remaining. They never plugged it in once and still have more than enough range for the week ahead. For that retired person living in a sunny state, this vehicle is essentially free transportation for life. That is a real, meaningful, and deeply tangible improvement in the quality of someone's everyday life. But it is not just retired people who benefit enormously from owning this remarkable kind of vehicle. And think about a busy family household that already owns 2 or even 3 different electric vehicles today. That family knows the very real nightly stress of figuring out exactly who gets to use the charger. Dad has to leave early for work, so his car obviously gets plugged in first, without question. Mom has errands, school pickups, and appointments, so her car absolutely needs to be fully charged too. And if there is a teenager in the house with their own electric car, well, good luck. Someone is always going to bed with a half-charged vehicle and a small, persistent feeling of anxiety. Now simply imagine adding an Aptera to that same household as one of those 3 family vehicles. Suddenly, one of those vehicles simply does not need a charger at all on most ordinary nights. The Aptera quietly takes care of itself during the day while everyone else is away doing things. The pressure on that 1 or 2 charger setup at home drops down significantly and almost immediately. No more musical chairs with charging cables and no more quiet arguments about who plugged in last. And here is another thing that makes the Aptera even easier to truly live with every day. If you do need to charge it using a plug, you do not need fancy, expensive equipment. A regular 110-volt household outlet found in any room of your home works perfectly. That is the exact same outlet you already use to charge your phone or plug in appliances. With that simple everyday outlet, you can recover over 150 miles of range overnight easily. You compare that to setting up a dedicated 220-volt home charging station at your house. That kind of professional installation typically costs anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 to complete. The Aptera eliminates that significant cost entirely for most owners who rely mainly on daily solar power. You save money on gas, you save money on charging equipment, and you save real-time weekly. The financial case for this vehicle is just as strong as the environmental case, if not stronger. Now, let us zoom all the way out and look at the much bigger picture happening globally. The entire global transportation system is slowly but surely shifting toward electric vehicles absolutely everywhere right now. This shift is not happening because governments are forcing it, but it is happening because people genuinely want it. According to Kelley Blue Book data, EV sales in the United States are growing every single year. In the fourth quarter of 2024, American consumers purchased over 350,000 new EVs. By the third quarter of 2025 alone, that number had already climbed to 437,000. By the end of 2025, total US EV sales are fully expected to surpass 450,000. That is a jump of roughly 100,000 vehicles in just a single year of sales. And that is just in the United States, one country out of nearly 200 in the world. Globally, an estimated 10 million battery electric vehicles were sold across all markets throughout the year 2024. In 2025, that global number is projected to rise significantly to around 13.6 million units. That trend is not reversing at all. It is actively accelerating, and every major automaker knows it. The data is completely clear and the direction is firmly set. The world is going electric permanently. But here is where things get genuinely interesting and where Aptera's real advantage becomes completely undeniable. All of those electric vehicles have one major thing in common that quietly creates a serious problem. They all need to plug directly into the electrical grid to charge up every single day. As more and more electric vehicles come online together, the stress on the electrical grid grows dramatically. California has already passed a mandate requiring all newly purchased cars to be fully electric by 2035. That sounds like wonderful environmental progress on paper. But it carries a very serious practical challenge too. California's electrical grid is simply not currently prepared to handle that enormous additional charging load from EVs. On hot summer days, the state already struggles visibly to keep the lights on and air conditioners running. Adding millions of electric vehicles all charging simultaneously would push the grid far beyond its safe limits. Other states across the country and other nations around the world face this very exact same challenge. The infrastructure genuinely needed to support full EV adoption simply does not yet exist at required scale. Building that infrastructure requires decades of planning, massive funding, extensive construction, and widespread community support to complete. Aptera offers a completely different solution that cleanly sidesteps this entire infrastructure problem from the very start. If your vehicle charges itself from the sun, it truly never needs to pull power from the grid. You are not adding to the problem at all. You are completely removing yourself from it instead. Every single Aptera on the road is one less vehicle straining the already stretched electrical grid daily. If 10,000 Apteras are charging from the sun daily, that is 10,000 fewer grid loads. If 100,000 Apteras are on the road together, the grid benefit becomes genuinely significant and measurable. This is not just good for individual owners. It is meaningfully good for all of society. Most products make your life easier at someone else's expense. Aptera makes your life easier for everyone. Now let us talk about exactly what happens when those first 50 vehicles actually begin hitting the road. The first owners are going to drive these cars everywhere, and curious people are going to stare. The Aptera looks completely unlike anything else on the road today, and that is entirely by design. Its three-wheeled aerodynamic body is specifically built to cut through the air with as little resistance as possible. That ultra-low drag is one of the main reasons solar power can actually and meaningfully move the vehicle. Traditional cars are far too heavy and boxy, requiring much too much energy for solar panels alone. Aptera spent many years obsessing over weight reduction and aerodynamics to make solar-powered daily charging genuinely practical. And every single design decision from the body shape to the materials used serves one very clear purpose: to move the vehicle as efficiently as possible so that the sun can do the maximum work. That total dedication to engineering efficiency is what truly and fundamentally separates Aptera from every other EV today. Bolting solar panels onto a roof is technically easy, but Aptera built an entire vehicle around solar. They built the complete vehicle from the very ground up around the singular goal of solar transportation. That kind of deep engineering commitment takes years of disciplined work, and it is finally paying off. When people see an Aptera driving silently past them on the highway, they will ask curious questions. What is that unusual thing? Where do you charge it? How much does it actually cost? And when the proud owner smiles and says the sun charges it for free, something clicks instantly. That moment of genuine realization is the single most powerful marketing tool that has ever existed. No paid advertisement can ever truly replicate seeing something real and hearing someone you personally trust speak. Aptera's passionate community of supporters has already been doing this valuable work online together for many years. But once physical vehicles are in real hands on actual real roads, that entire conversation explodes completely. Every early owner becomes a living, breathing demonstration of what solar-powered transportation genuinely looks and truly feels like. They are not simply customers. They are enthusiastic ambassadors for an entirely new way of personal mobility. 1 million social followers, about 50,000 reservations, 2 billion in value, over 20,000 committed investors already. Those numbers did not come from a massive advertising budget or from any celebrity endorsement campaign whatsoever. They came from real everyday people who genuinely and deeply believe in what this company is doing. That kind of organic grassroots community energy is incredibly difficult to manufacture and completely impossible to fake sustainably. It is built entirely on a real product solving a real problem in a genuinely innovative way. Gas prices go up and down completely unpredictably, leaving drivers entirely at the mercy of global oil markets. Public charging infrastructure remains inconsistent, frustratingly slow, or inconveniently located for millions of potential EV buyers everywhere, while home charging equipment is expensive to install and not even possible for people who currently rent their homes. Aptera calmly and elegantly removes every single one of those friction points in one beautifully engineered package. No gas, no charging station hunting, no expensive home installation, and no monthly electricity bill increase ever again. Just clean, completely free, perfectly quiet solar energy powering your entire daily life every single morning without effort. That beautiful simplicity is actually far more radical and more disruptive than most people in the industry realize. Simplicity at this profound level does not just change what people drive, it changes how they think. When you genuinely never have to worry about fuel, your entire relationship with your vehicle completely shifts. The car stops being a source of constant financial stress and starts becoming a source of freedom. That meaningful psychological shift is something that Aptera owners are going to feel deeply every single day. And that liberating feeling is going to be incredibly contagious to every single person who rides along. It is important to be honest and acknowledge that Aptera is still on a significant and challenging journey. Building 50 vehicles is absolutely a critical milestone, but it is honestly still quite early in the story. The real test comes when they successfully scale from 50 vehicles all the way to 5,000. Every automotive startup in history has faced enormous and sometimes fatal challenges at exactly that difficult stage. While production ramp-ups consistently reveal real-world problems that controlled testing simply never fully shows. And those problems take resources. Aptera knows this reality well, and their leadership has spoken openly about being a lean, scalable operation. Their goal was always to design a vehicle fundamentally simpler and cheaper to build than typical cars. The lightweight aerodynamic design that makes the car solar compatible also makes it genuinely simpler to manufacture. Fewer heavy components, fewer complex systems, and fewer total moving parts all naturally mean fewer things going wrong. And that inherent manufacturing simplicity is a real competitive advantage as they work hard to grow production. The company is not trying to build a luxury performance vehicle competing directly with Tesla or others. They are building a practical, wonderfully efficient, genuinely affordable daily driver that simply charges itself for free. That focused and refreshingly humble mission actually makes execution significantly more achievable than what other startups attempt. And the available evidence strongly suggests they are executing on that clear mission with real measured progress. Battery packs are lined up and carefully stacked in visible rows. Vehicles are being validated and tested. This is not a company making grand promises on a polished stage with a glossy video playing. This is a company with real battery packs in a real warehouse with real vehicles getting ready. There is a massive difference between those two things, and Aptera is confidently in the second category. While the electric vehicle space is unfortunately full of companies that talked loudly and ultimately delivered very little. Aptera has been considerably quieter about its progress, but consistently far more substantive in what it builds. That combination of quiet, determined focus and real visible physical progress is what serious investors consistently look for. The 20,000-plus investors who backed this company did not do so blindly or based on hype. They carefully looked at the technology, the experienced team, the real market opportunity, and the execution track record. And they said yes. That kind of thoughtful investor confidence is a genuinely meaningful signal of something real. Now with the Nasdaq listing, thousands more investors have the exciting opportunity to participate in this important mission. Well, the public market debut brings significant credibility, greater visibility, and fresh resources directly to this growing company. It signals clearly that Aptera has reached a level of real maturity that satisfies serious professional financial scrutiny. Getting to that important point takes years of sustained hard work, consistent accountability, and deep organizational discipline. So where does all of this honestly leave someone who is watching the Aptera story unfold right now? It leaves us standing right at the beginning of something genuinely exciting and historically significant in transportation. The world has needed a vehicle exactly like this for a very long time without fully knowing it. We needed something that did not require fossil fuels and did not simultaneously stress the electrical grid either. We needed something simple, affordable, practically useful, and genuinely clean from the very first moment you wake up. We needed a vehicle that worked naturally with the world around us instead of endlessly depleting it. Aptera is that vehicle, and those first 50 cars on real roads are about to prove it. Every single mile driven on completely free solar energy is a small but genuinely powerful argument forward. Every owner quietly skipping the gas station forever is a living proof point for a cleaner way. Every conversation sparked by someone noticing that unusual three-wheeled vehicle gliding silently down the road matters enormously. Every one of those small individual moments adds up collectively to a real movement bigger than any company. It is a genuine movement toward true energy independence, a real financial freedom, and a meaningfully lighter footprint. Aptera is not just building 50 vehicles. They are carefully writing the first chapter of a longer story. And that story is one of the most genuinely exciting things happening in clean transportation anywhere right now. If you have been on the fence about Aptera, right now is honestly a great time to look. The company is real. The innovative product is real. The enormous demand is completely and undeniably real. 50 vehicles are being built right now as you read every one of these very words today. And that is truly just the very start of everything that is coming next from this company. The sun has been powering all life on this beautiful planet for billions of years without any bill. It is genuinely about time we finally and fully figured out how to let it power our commute. Aptera figured that important thing out, and those 50 vehicles are the proud and exciting beginning of everything.